In this video you will see how the online software Kashflow provided by JH Greenwood and Company can simplify the bookkeeping processes within your business. To log into your account, all you need to do is log into the JH Greenwood website. Once you're on the home page, just click the Kashflow link at the top of the page. All you need to do then is just enter the username and password that's been provided for you. The final security you'll need to confirm is the 3 characters from your memorable word. Once you've done this, all you need to do is just confirm the terms and conditions and click OK. Once you've logged into the Kashflow dashboard, you will see that on the left hand side of the screen the various modules from quotes to invoices to bank management and reports. We can see that there is a module called customers and also one called suppliers. We can use the customer module to create individual customer records for all of the customers who we sell and provide services to, and then we can create supplier records for everyone we buy services and goods from. When we click into the customer module, the process is very simple. We can see from this screen all of our customers are listed in order, and it shows how much business has been generated from them and also what their outstanding balances are. At the top of the screen, to add a new customer, all we do is click the Create button. Once we've created this, all we do is type the name of the client and it will create a code automatically, and then we just click the Create Customer button. Once we've done that, we can then continue to enter all of their contact details, including their address, phone number, mobile number, etc. And we can also pop in an email address for as and when we may want to be sending out invoices via email. Once all that information is put in, I can then go and set up their payment terms and conditions. By default, I have 28 days. I could just have 7-day terms, and I can set that one up in here. And all I need to do to save those details is just hit the update button at the bottom. And when we now go to the customer module on the left-hand side of the screen, we can see that she's now been created as one of my customers, and the value of business is still 0. Adding a new supplier record is just as simple. We click into the suppliers module on the left hand side of the screen, and we can see at the top right we have a button which says Create. We just follow that process by clicking the Create button, typing in a name for a supplier. It will create a code automatically, and then I just hit the Create Supplier button, and that's now created a new supplier record, and I can then continue to enter my payment terms and conditions and all of the supplier's contact details. We'll now see the supplier is now listed in my supplier list. Once you've set up your customers and suppliers, you can then start creating quotes and invoices for them. To create a new quote, all we need to do is click the Quote module on the left hand side of the screen. Once you've clicked into the Quotes module, you'll see a list of all of the quotes you've set up, and including all of the customer details, the date and the value for those individual quotes. To create a new quote, all you need to do is just click the Create button on the top right hand side of the screen. All you need to do is start adding in the details here. You can enter a reference number for the quote. You can choose the customer who the quote is for. Alternatively, if it's for a new customer, you can just hit on the add plus item, and that will just add in a new customer record for you. You can also just choose the category. So we have a default list of categories for quotes, but these can be customized to suit your business. To add information onto the quote, all you need to do is just click the Add Line Item button. You can add as many lines as you want to the quote, and all you need to do is fill in the information. So I can just type in next to sales of good, sales. I can either put in the net value, and it will calculate the VAT for me and enter the gross value. Alternatively, I could just type into the gross figure and it will calculate the net amount for me. You can choose various sales codes, so you can split your quotes and invoices up. So if I just choose labour, I can actually pre-fill descriptions on here and pre-fill prices. So if you do a lot of repeat work, this makes the process of creating quotes and invoices a lot quicker. Once you're happy with all of the information on the quote, all you need to do is just press the Save button on the top right hand side of the screen. Some of the options now is we can copy, so if you do a lot of repeat quotes and repeat invoices, you can hit copy and I can now copy that to a new quote or a new invoice. We also have an edit option at the top of the screen, so if you need to amend a quote, depending on if the customer's requested it, I can just click edit and then I can change any value and just say I did £50 off and I can just discount that down and then hit save in the top right hand side of the screen. We will also have the option to email at the bottom, which will bring up the email editor and it will include the client's email address, and that quote will just be attached as a PDF document. Alternatively, we can just click print and print that off as and when we need to. And we go back to quotes, we will now see that quote has been listed at the top of the screen. Once that quote has been created, we will see if we go back to the customer screen and we go through to James Jones's account and go through to the invoices and stats screen, all of the client's quotes will be listed against the customer record, so they're very easy to manage all in one place. Once the client decides they want to go ahead with the quote, all you need to do is click into the relevant quote and at the top you'll see you'll have an option to convert to invoice. Once I hit convert, we can then convert that to a sales invoice and we can now see it's been converted to invoice number 3. And if we go back to the quote screen, we'll see that's now been marked as 1. And if we go to the invoices screen on the left hand side, we can now see that quote has turned to an invoice and the status is unpaid. If you just need to create an invoice straight away without the need to create a quote, then all you need to do is just either click into the invoices module on the left and hit create to create a new invoice at the top of the screen. Alternatively, if you go to the customer screen, just click on a customer record. There is also a quick link to create a quote and create an invoice directly from here. If I just click create invoice, we can see the screen looks exactly the same as the quotation screen. However, we're going straight into a sales invoice. It will bring through the client's payment terms and conditions, so this customer has 28 days. It will create an invoice number for you and you have the option to put in an additional reference if you wish. I'm just going to select the customer here, and again we just add line item information onto the invoice and all of that will just pull through. You can amend any of these details, make sure you're happy with the invoice and then hit save. If you're buying from a supplier, all you need to do is just go to the purchases module on the left hand side of the screen. If you click the create button at the top, you have the option to select the supplier just so like you would select a customer on the invoice screen. Once you select a supplier, you can then put in any relevant supplier reference figures and just check the issue date and due date are correct against the payment terms for your suppliers. As you can see, when you're entering quotes, sales and purchase invoices, they are all laid out identically with the ability to edit, print and email all at the bottom of the invoices once they've been created. I'm just going to click add line item. It defaults to materials purchased and I'm just going to say that I purchased some stock and it was £500. And then if I click save on the top right hand side, if I go back to my purchases module on the left, I can now see that purchase invoice for Screwfix has now been created within my purchase list. You'll now see as you click the relevant modules on the left hand side, you can get a full list of quotes, a full list of sales invoices and a full list of purchase invoices, so you can see exactly the status of all of these within your business, which helps managing these processes a lot easier. If we go now to the customer record and click into John Smith's record at the top, if we click on the invoices and stats, not only will you see quotes, you will also see the invoices listed, if they've been paid, if they're overdue or unpaid, and you can also see their average time to pay when they were first and last invoiced as well. If we go to the next module, we can see we have a bank module on the left hand side of the screen. Once we click into the bank module, I can see a list of all of my bank accounts and all of the balances are listed here as well. We can have as many accounts as we need, and to create a new bank account, all you need to do is just add a new account on the top right hand side of the screen. If I just open this up, all I need to do is type the name of the account. So I'm just going to have this as my business account. It will automatically create the account code for you, and you do have the option to choose the relevant logo for your bank account. Once you've done that, just hit save in the top right hand side, and that bank account will now be listed in alphabetical order. If you click the View and Add button next to a relevant bank account, you have the ability to start entering bank transactions. If I hit View and Add, all I need to do is type the name of the transaction at the top. So if I choose the date and choose the code it needs to be posted to, so I'm just going to go to Travel and put in a description of the transaction. So I'm just going to put a flight in here. Then we just need to put the value. So this is money out, so it's a flight, and this is the amount including VAT. So I'm just going to put £200, and then we select the VAT rate, 20%, and then you just hit the plus icon, and we can now see that that transaction is listed in the bank, and the bank balance has now changed to minus £200. To add in other transactions, you should repeat that process. So I'm just going to go to the 16th, and again you can just search down the list of codes. Alternatively, if you start typing, it will bring up the code. So this is bank interest received, and I'm just going to go to interest, money coming in. I just fit £50 and the VAT rate is NA, and if I just hit plus, that transaction has now been added into my bank as well. So if we now go to the bank on the left hand side, you can see that my balance is minus £150, and if I click View and Add, all of those transactions will just be listed in here for that specific date period. If we go back to the bank module in here, we also have the option to use bank feeds. So a more efficient way of using Kashflow is to link it to your online banking. If you do this, then you will see next to the relevant bank, you'll have a button which says Import next to the bank feed section. Once you click on this, all you need to do is enter the start date and the end date for the bank statement that you'd like to import. I'm just going to import from at the start of April to the end of May, so I just select my date range and click Retrieve Transactions. Once this is done, it will basically pull your bank statement through from your online banking, and it's just a case then of making sure that they're all posted to the correct place in your Kashflow bookkeeping software. Your only option for your online banking is just to import a bank statement. You can't post or make any transactions or any changes within the bank itself, and you can see here the software only displays the last 4 digits on the account and the bank balance as of yesterday. So it's purely a case of just importing the statement rather than entering those transactions using the View and Add button. We can see if we scroll down, there's my bank statement on the left hand side of the screen, and we can see where it's posted to in my bookkeeping software on the right hand side of the screen. We have specific rules that we can set up within the system. We can see we have an auto assign rule, so if there's money coming in or out that match a relevant sales or purchase invoice, it will automatically pick that up in the software and post that to the correct place. We also have the option to create new rules. So I have rules created, so when it sees the word interest, it will just post that next to the relevant code on the right hand side of the screen. I've got one for my rent, so every time it sees my rent going out of my bank, it automatically posts it to rent. Where a transaction isn't automatically matched either from an auto assign or a create rule, you'll see you have a match button. I have £100 going out of my bank. If I hit the match button, it will automatically bring up a list of purchase invoices. I also have the option to just create a new transaction from there. So that £100 going out, I can see it was for Kashflow, so I can just select Kashflow as a supplier, and I can just select it was materials, and I can choose any other code I need to post that to, select the VAT amount, and then hit create, and we can now see that that payment is going to create a new purchase invoice for that supplier. If you don't run a purchase ledger and you're just posting transactions through the bank, then you don't have to select a supplier. I can hit the match button now, and when I hit create, instead of creating a purchase invoice, I'm just going to create a bank transaction. So instead of going through a supplier, I'm just going to go and post that directly to materials, and then we can select the relevant VAT amount and hit create. Once you've matched all the transactions in here, all we do is click import now, and that's going to import those transactions directly into the bank account. And if I select the relevant date range for this bank account and hit the go button, we will now see all of those transactions have been imported directly from the bank statement. So as you can see, this is very easy to enter your bank transactions, sales invoices and purchases into Kashflow. If we now revert back to the dashboard on the left hand side, we will see that some of these values have changed. So when you enter this information, you can see all the data reflect on the main dashboard. When you log in, you can see all the balances of your bank accounts. You can see how much you're owed from your customers, how much you owe to your suppliers, and also you can see any transactions that are overdue within your business. If you're VAT registered at this point, as long as your bookkeeping is up to date, it will display your VAT liability for the current period, so you know exactly how much is due for the specific period that you're in. We also have a reporting module on the left hand side, and if you click on reports, you have the option to run a various income and expenditure and general reports to see how your business is performing, and the main one is the profit and loss report. So if I click into favourites, I have my P&L set as a favourite because it's what I run all the time. And all I need to do is select the start date and end date that I want to run this report from. So I'm going to run it from January 2014 until the point we're at now. Hit run report, and we can now see it displays my turnover, less my cost of sales, less my expenses, and I can see the net profit, so I can see exactly how my business is performing. So as you can see, using Kashflow provided by JH Greenwood and Company, it's a very powerful but simple tool to help you manage the bookkeeping processes within your business. For more information about Kashflow and to get set up with an account, please call JH Greenwood and Company on 01289 302 463 or just send an email to inquiries@jhgreenwood.co.uk.